Hello again, my name is Alex, and I hope you enjoyed lunch. I'm a Malaysian, and like any good Malaysian, I like free stuff. And I also like movies that are banned in Malaysia. So when the movie Pendatang came out on YouTube, legally for free, because it would be banned in Malaysia, I was very interested. The movie producers wanted to show the possible danger of racial politics and to show the hope of individual courage that can overcome this division. But when my wife and I watched it, we also saw an interesting aspect of the movie. We saw different types of leaders, good and bad. So over the next few minutes, let's think about the three different leaders in the movie, and then see which leader do you like. In Malaysian broken English, which leader you like. Let's start with the bad leader, and there are quite a few of them. So there's the powerless officer, Vincent, or the corrupt businessman, Eddie and Encik Hamid. But the worst is this Mr. Ho, isn't it? He's the head of the security team. They provide supplies for residents. But they also enforce the law of segregation among races. But from very early on, we see his bad side. He's rude to those who are under him. He scares the new Wong family. And he is arrogant. But later he gets even worse. When he does a surprise inspection on the Wong family, he threatens to threatens the boy Bobby, threatens the girl Yan, and he kills Vincent the officer, the guy that you saw in the picture just now. Then finally, in his greed for power and money, he even kills the factory owner Eddie, and bargains for a higher commission with Encik Hamid. This is the worst kind of leader, isn't it? Arrogant, abuses power, takes advantage of people. I hope your manager is not like this, huh? Mr. Ho's behavior reminds me of this quote by Lord Acton. He said once, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now that means that the more power someone has, the more corrupt, more bad they become. Power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. This is the first leader, and he's clearly a bad one. But the second leader is a bit mixed, and he is Mr. Wong. Mr. Wong cares for his family. He tries to negotiate for better accommodation. He's also Mr. Optimistic. Everything will be okay, don't worry. That's what he would say to his family. But we also find out that he voted for the racial segregation law. He voted that people should live separately. When his family discovers Panda, a Malay girl hiding in their house, he's willing to report her to the security team also, for the sake of protecting his family. But he also did so knowing that Panda will be killed if he reported it. But he was willing. Eventually, he does risk his life to send Panda to a Malay area, to a Malay kampung, where she will be safe, mainly because he wanted to carry out his family's wishes, thinking that they had been killed. But would he have done it himself? Would we have gone to do it for Panda anyway? We don't really know. But by the end of the movie at least, he's sort of a good hero, losing his life to save his daughter and Panda. Now, I'm not sure what you think, but maybe most of the leaders in our lives are a bit like Mr. Wong, this mixed hero. Maybe our politicians, maybe your managers, maybe even our fathers. A mix of good and bad leadership. But this kind of leadership, is it good enough to like? Is this the kind of leadership that is good enough for us to admire it? Well, let's look at the third one and then let's come back to the question. Look at third kind of leadership, which I think we do tend to admire. In the movie, this leadership type is represented by the young woman named Botak. Botak, actually the word Botak means bald, but she is called bald because she has short hair. If you don't know the name, what the Botak name means. Botak is a junior in the security team, but she knows the Wong family because her sister knew them. And so, Botak repeatedly risks her life to help them. First, she steals some asthma medication for Bobby. Then during inspection, she tries to defend the family. And at some point, Botak also doesn't kill the Malay girl Panda, even though her sister was killed by Panda's race. And then finally, her most courageous act is to help the family escape, knowing that this will cost her her life. This will get her killed. But this is the kind of leadership we admire, isn't it? Botak may not be a high-ranking officer, but she's willing to do the right thing, willing to sacrifice herself. And it's exactly the kind of quality that we hope for in our leaders. We hope our politicians won't steal, but look after the welfare of the people. We hope our managers will stand up for us, defend us, do the right thing when we are bullied. We also know how our parents, or some parents, have given up their lives for us, making sacrifices for our good. This is the kind of leadership we look up to, isn't it? Maybe even the kind of leaders that we hope to one day be. Because you know it has been such a benefit to you, and you know you can be such a benefit to others as well. I'm a Malaysian, and also a Christian. And Christian recognizes this type of leadership, not just because it's good and we admire it, but we recognize it because Jesus himself is this kind of leader. Someone wrote down what Jesus said and did, and here's what Jesus said to his followers. He said, you know that those who are considered rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones exercise authority over them. But it shall not be so among you. But whoever will be great among you must be your servant, and whoever will be first among you must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. So even during the days of Jesus, 2,000 years ago, rulers abuse their authority. They dominate over others. And just like Mr. Ho, that's what they do. But Jesus says his followers must not be like that. Instead, to be great, they must be a lowly servant. To be first, they must first be a slave. And the big reason is this. Jesus, who has the title Son of Man, who has authority from God, he didn't come to be served, but to serve. And here's how he served. He gave up his life as a ransom for many. And that means he sacrificed himself for the benefit of others. That means he paid the price with death on the cross for God to forgive us, for our good, if we choose to accept this. So for Christians, Jesus is not just our example, not just our leader, but the one through whom we've received our greatest good. We've received God's forgiveness because Jesus gave up his life for us. Today we looked at various leaderships, and I hope that this has helped you to identify not just which type of leader you like, but also the type of leader that you want to become. Whether it's in your workplace or your family, or maybe even in politics, if you end up in politics. So don't be like Mr. Ho, who abuses power, takes advantage of people. Don't be like Mr. Wong, a mix of good and bad leadership. Instead, perhaps aim to be like Botak, who sacrifices herself for the good of others. In the end, it will benefit you also. Two more things before I start. And next Thursday we have another lunch and another topic on artificial intelligence. And we'll be thinking about what it looks like when we recreate ourselves. When we recreate you and me. That's next Thursday. Let's see. That's next Thursday, 14th of March. And the second thing is, if you'd like to explore a few things about what Jesus said and did, then let me invite you to come to another lunch this Sunday to something called Hope Explored. There will be lunch like this. There'll be videos, and there'll be discussions about what's the best future that you and I can imagine. Thank you for spending your lunchtime with us, and I hope to see you again on Sunday or next Thursday. Thank you.